Hey everyone, it's Austin. Welcome back to the channel. It's day 220 on my journey to 2000, where I'll be uploading a video about chess every day until I make it there. So thank you very much for your support. If you want to help out the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we're not going to play a game today. Little more to the intro. I played some more games yesterday after I recorded all those games and split it up amongst 4 videos. And man, I just played terrible yesterday, so I need to not play today or at least warm up a little bit. So I'm going to do a puzzle rush. I got inspired by Daniel's video about doing a puzzle rush survival. So let's do one of these together and see how high we can get. And yeah, that being said, I don't think Puzzle Rush Survival needs much of an intro. You get 3 strikes and then you're out, and you try to solve as many puzzles as you can. So I'll try to explain as I'm going, so that way it's, broken down for all levels of viewers. I know that a lot of my viewers are higher rated, but for those of you who are a little bit lower rated, maybe you can get something out of this. So the first, I don't know, cajillion puzzles are really just going to be mate and 1. So if you just look for checks, I have 1 check and it's checkmate. That was tough. Okay, so now I'm basically just going to be staring at this whole side of the board to see where the king is. And from that, I'm going to deduce what my checks are for these first couple of puzzles, you know what I mean, where it's really simple. And from there you can see already that these 2 pieces are converging, and that's checkmate. Okay. So that's a free piece, and I don't know, maybe later we can discuss how to checkmate with rook and king. But now this is mate in 3. It's back rank again, characterized by these 3 pawns. Sometimes it's not just 3 pawns. Like, say for instance, if you had h6 pushed and you had your light square bishop on h7, it would still be back rank mate because the 3 pieces are restricting the king's movement. So you always just got to be aware of that. So we come all the way up, check, he blocks with the bishop, blocks with the rook, and then it's checkmate. Okay, so whenever you have the king restricted by 2 pieces and it's on the back rank, if you put a queen 2 squares away, it's checkmate. So now we have mate in 2, and again, very common construction here, having your queen and your knight work together to deliver some sort of checkmate or some sort of attack to win material ultimately. So, I encourage you guys, it's really easy to just play this without seeing what the follow-up is, but, just see that try to calculate it all the way to the end. It really helps. I didn't start getting better at calculating until I took puzzles more seriously. Like, it's really easy to boot up some puzzles and then just play whatever move is most intuitive to you, but you're not going to gain much from that. You should really try to play the forcing move, or, calculate the forcing move, see what comes of it, and then see how far you can calculate, see what moves you missed, and then, try to work on it from there. So this is just a checkmate in 1. Okay, this is a queen bishop battery lining up on the g7 square, checkmate. This is a rook queen battery lining up on the f7 square, checkmate. Alright, so now this is an interesting one because it's a ladder mate in the middle of the board. So you got to realize that we have 3 checks to start with. Let's start with this one. Check. King goes up here. Check. King goes over here. Check. And that's already kind of like not, I mean, sure, it might end up being okay, but you're gonna have to hunt the king all over the board, and usually with the puzzles at this low of a level, it's not gonna be that difficult. If you check here, take, your only follow-up checks are with the bishop and with the rook, and then the king just starts running away. The rook and the bishop by themselves just aren't enough. So now finally we land here. Check. King only has one legal move, which is to go to e5, which is another very important thing to note. When you give forcing moves and they have very little responses, like the amount of responses that they have, if it's very limited, then that is kind of leading you down the right path. So check, king here, check, and this rook blocks this entire rank, this rook blocks this entire rank, and it's checkmate in the middle of the board. Okay. So same thing. Queen bishop battery. So now this is a very famous pattern on chess.com where whenever you have a knight on one of these two squares and your queen can come out, well, specifically on the king side. So if you're playing with the black pieces and you have a knight here, or if you're playing with the white pieces and you have a knight here, and the f3 or the f2 or f7 pawn are pushed up one, this diagonal is open. So if we're looking at checks, we only have one, and it's this, which leads us down the correct path. And it's important to note that this pawn is pinned to the rook. So then we can just take it with a knight, and then the rook hangs, and we end up a pawn and an exchange up. Okay, so now this is another way to kind of give back rank mate. It's whenever your opponent has Swiss cheese pawns like these, it's good to look at ways to restrict the king's movement. In general, whenever we're trying to checkmate, we should be looking at what are the king's getaway squares. So we don't want the king to move towards the center of the board. So naturally we would want to go here. I mean, it is our only check after all. And then the king is forced here, and then this is checkmate. Just like what I was saying before, the king's movement is restricted by these two pieces in that direction. So then the queen being two pieces or two squares away from the king is just checkmate. It's like one of the only times the queen can checkmate just by itself is when it's two squares away and the king is restricted by its own pieces. So it's really helpful to know that pattern. So what do we have here? We can give this check, and then the king is forced over here. And then we have this check, and then this is the only move, and then this check, defended by the rook. Not that it really matters, but it's that situation where the queen is, again, two squares away from the king, and the king's forward movement is prevented by his own pawn. Okay, so you can give away the queen as well. The important thing to notice that you should always try to calculate is if there's any pieces that can block that are defended by another piece. So we're going kind of fast here, so I am already starting to feel like I'm losing my voice. I'm talking so much. So let's just chill out a little bit. And this is actually a really pretty one. So you have two double checks. This one, you're blocking the vision of the bishop, and then the king can come here or there. This one, you're not blocking the vision of the bishop, and giving double check here also restricts this square, So it's literally just double checkmate. Not bad. If I ever had that in a game, I would be a happy camper. Okay. So let's think here. If we, let's just start with this check. This check, the king can move a lot of different places. We give this check as a follow-up. And if he went here, then he can go this way. If he goes here, he can still go this way. If he goes here, he can come up or over. So that's already feeling like, you know, the move might not be to give some sort of checkmate. I'm actually having a really hard time seeing what the solution could be here. So I'm just going to sit and look at it for another minute. Man, I feel kind of dumb. So there's this check. If rook takes, then we just, like, literally have nothing. We could go here and try to win the rook. Then he just goes here or anything else. This check. If queen takes. So it's important to notice that we're currently up in exchange. So we both have a knight, but then we have a rook for bishop. So check, queen takes, pawn takes. Doesn't seem great for us. Holy smokes, I really can't find this, but I'm not gonna like cut it out or of the video or anything. This is why it's important for everybody to do puzzles. Every once in a while, around like level 20, you know, 20 puzzles in, we're at 16, but around this level, there's just gonna be ones that I really struggle with, and I just need to look at it for a minute. Otherwise, I feel like the only move is to play hope chess and sack the exchange, hope that he takes with the pawn, and then we get in with the knight. This move forces a queen trade, and he can't take the pawn. But I feel like that is way too high level. He's also, okay. So we're up in exchange, and we have the same amount of pawns, but he's got two connected outside passers. I would probably do a queen trade here if this was a real game. No, I'm stupid. It was this check all along. Check, and then wherever we go, we give an additional check here, and then check to pick up the rook. Yeah, you see what I mean? It's like, I know that there's something, but I just like, oh my god, I just can't see it. So this looks like another one where we're getting past the checkmate in one type thing, and we need to start looking for how we can win material. So what we can do is we can win a piece here if we take the bishop, rook takes, queen takes, bishop takes, check, king goes wherever, and then we win the piece back, and we're up 2 pieces. And it looks like a pawn. So that's what I think it is. So let's calculate something else. He doesn't have to take, so let's say he like goes, he can't move the rook either. Wherever he moves, this queen e3 is still going to be check, so this is definitely the vibe. Easy peasy. Okay, so the first thing you should be seeing is that the king has no squares. I mean, like, oh my god, the king has no squares. So this is just literally checkmate in one. Okay, now this is a famous mating pattern, where white just did the official "oh no, my queen," and then there's this check bringing the king forward, and then this check. All the squares are covered. I guess let's go back to that. So here, this knight covers these squares. This bishop covers these squares. So now all you need to do is jump in with this knight to hit these two squares, and it's checkmate. So it's very beautiful. I always love that checkmate. I never get it in any of my games. I never did get it. I've been a d4 player pretty much like since the get-go. So this looks like it really wants you to take the material and try to trick you, but I think we have checkmate. I think it's check, and then the king literally has no squares, so you have to block with the rook, and then it's just mate on the next move. So whenever you have, you know, an exchange that you can win, look for better. Okay, so we're down a million things here, it feels like. But we're not, we're only down an exchange, I guess. So the move that is screaming to be played is bishop g2, in which he would play king g1, and then at the very least we have bishop e4 check, winning the rook. So if we play that check, can he block with anything? He can block with the bishop, either there or there, in which case we just take it with the rook. And if he blocks with this rook, we just take it. So that looks pretty good. Okay, and it doesn't make you... This is why it's important to keep calculating. The puzzles aren't always just going to finish. Sometimes you need to prove to yourself why that's the correct move. Okay. Wow, this is really neat. Oh my god, like what kind of a game is this? So this check is screaming to be played, right? After bishop g6, king g8, if we give the h7, bishop h7 check, king takes f7, queen g6 check, king here, queen takes, king here. Well, he wouldn't go there. He should probably go here, so that way he can start running away from checks. And this diagonal is covered by the queen. And this rook is defended by the knight. So that doesn't seem very conclusive. So let's look for other checks. Let's say we give check here. King g8. Bishop h6, or knight h6 check. If queen takes, we take with the bishop, obviously. And if pawn takes, it still doesn't feel very conclusive. So let's count the material, because, you know, he does have a bishop that's hanging. And we're about to win a knight. So we have two pieces, two minors, both of our heavies. He has, oh, well, we have 3 pieces. He has 3 pieces. So I think this might just be an opportunity where we just take this and then take this. And then we're just up 2 pieces. So let's just calculate that. Check here, takes. He has 1 check with his queen. And then if we go into the corner, he doesn't have any, he has this check, which is actually checkmate. No, it's not. We just go back here. And then, does he have a perpetual? I think he does. So, bishop g6, king g8, king g2, queen g4, king king h1, queen f3. Yeah, I think that he has a perpetual, so I don't think that we can do that. So let's keep looking. I don't think the taking with the knight is conclusive either. So what if we... I definitely think that this is the first move, so let's keep looking at moves to play after this and king g8. He takes, pawn takes. Man, I feel like there has to be something there. Very, very interesting. I'm also getting more and more lightheaded the more that I'm talking. Trying to think instead of just thinking. Let's calculate the h7 check line again. h7 check, knight takes, queen takes check, and then we take here. And then he doesn't have any checks with his queen. Yeah, that's definitely it. Okay, and that's where it stops. Because, let's look at the analysis board. The analysis board is shaped a little bit differently with the overlay, so sorry about it. You'll be alright. So now the king has to go to e7. And queen takes is technically better. Okay, but I would want to play king takes to keep this check available to me. Which, queen takes is still a move to throw in before you take. Now, of course, we need to take with the queen if we do this, and this only works if you do this. So you would have had to seen that whole line if you wanted to play this, but I was just going to play king takes, which is still good. But technically the best move is queen takes. That's cool. That's a good one. Alright, so now our queen is under attack, and this is kind of like a... I don't want to say Anastasia's mate, because it's not like this square is covered by a piece, but we can sacrifice the rook, and after king takes, now this move to the h-file comes with check, which is extremely important, because if we just played queen h4 right now, then he's just gonna blow us off the board with his queen on the back rank. You know, maybe it's possible that we find a way to get our way out, but probably not with our pawns full of Swiss cheese like this. So you give the check first to ensure that the queen h4 move comes with check, and then when the king goes back, you creep on up to h7. Again, that knight and queen combo is really important. So that's 24. 24. I think this might just be a situation of pieces being overloaded. And you need to just know what move order to do what in. So there's a lot of things that can be captured, right? So it's important to notice that the knight is pinned, and this knight is only defended by the pinned piece and the piece being pinned. So if we take this knight and the knight takes, we win the queen. Pretty good. If we take this knight and the queen takes, then we take this knight, bishop takes, queen takes, and we win a piece. So I do think that it's bishop takes d7, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6. Okay. So here's another situation where we would love to just do this simple mating pattern. But this knight is being a pain in our rear. So let's look at other opportunities. What other checks do we have? Well, it's just this one, so let's start with that. Check if the king moves here, that's mate. Check if the king moves here, then check is checkmate. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Very interesting. I love endgame puzzles. So I think if we go h3 and he goes b5, a lot of times you just need to start calculating when it comes to endgames and endgame puzzles. So I'll try to do this quickly. h3, b5, bishop g2. If bishop g2, pawn g2, and we're queening first, so that doesn't work for him. So let's say h3, b5, bishop g2, and the important thing about this is that we're covering the promotion square. If he moves his bishop somewhere, then we're free to just promote. So I really think it's just a matter of, right now, the bishop is protecting this promotion square, but if we interfere with our own bishop, then that gets us the dub. And then if he doesn't want to take, then I think, well, let's calculate because I didn't calculate him pushing this pawn. Takes, push, 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 and we queen first, and we queen with check. And it's actually very instructive to learn how to win that endgame, where it's queen versus pawn, and the pawn is about to promote. So I think we should go over that real quick. So let's take, and, okay, so he does it like this. So I really think we should go over this real quick. So one of the things that Daniel Naroditsky talks about a lot in his pawn endgame videos is when you have a pawn race and you're promoting, it's important to see if the promotion comes with check. So if you take, push, 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 now this comes with check, and now the king goes here. And a lot of times, you know, people might kind of freak out here and not realize how to win, but it all has to do with just giving checks to get your queen in the correct position. And basically what you want to do is, let's say h7 check, king c6 is fine, queen h8 defends. If you come back to c7, then we have this diagonal check, which is really important. Let's say you don't want the queen to get in here, so you come forward. Now we have to start giving checks from behind. And if he comes in front of it, then we can start bringing our king. Which is technically, you know, if you want to challenge your opponent, I think that that's the most challenging way to do it. Because the way that you defend this pawn from promoting with black is to get your queen onto this square and then just bring your king. So you don't want his queen to get here. So now we bring our king, and then he's forced to a8, and then we give a5 check. He's forced back. We bring our king again, and then, you know, now it's just checkmate. So basically what you want to do is use your queen to give checks where you can either, like, let's say, I don't know, let's say I did this, and I'm not taking the fastest path. Let's set up a better example. I'm having a hard time coming up with an example right now, but there are situations where if the king is on this square, you can bring your queen to this square and actually pin the pawn to keep it from moving. That's a very important resource to be able to see, a very important pattern. But additionally, the point is that you just want to use your queen to give checks. If you can get your queen on the promotion square, then it's just an auto win. Very important. Okay. So now we're playing again. And the first thing I notice is this a beautiful, beautiful little battery that we have here. The problem is if we give this check, the king goes to g8, and I don't see any additional checks. So we're down a piece. So I like the idea of rook check, king g8, rook takes h4, threatening queen h7 checkmate. But he can defend that probably quite a few ways, so let's just think about it. What if he plays queen g7? Then I think I would love to be able to play this move to skewer the queen, but it's defended by the knight. What about this? Oops, sorry. What about this check? Pushing the king this way. Any advantage to that? Not specifically seeing any advantage to that. Check there takes. What if we don't take? What if we just go here? Hitting the knight and threatening that. He has this check, we go up. If queen blocks, we have this. Let's look at other moves that he can use to defend with rook h5 in mind instead of taking the pawn. So check here, rook h5. He can just play rook d7, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that looks pretty convincing. So I'm not really liking that idea. I'm just not. Oh, it's another deflection. Check here, sack the rook, and the king has no square, so he has to go here, and the queen and bishop line up on that square. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to do this from the perspective of, you know, I'm an expert and I'm going to show you guys how to get to 60 puzzles or anything. I'm just trying to do some puzzles and have some fun, that's all. I think this is a very fun way to try to improve. Okay, so this check is screaming to be played. Can't block with anything. only move is king to d8. And then it's queen e7, king c8, and over. So that one definitely a little bit more simple. So I feel like this has to be some sort of a checkmating net. So we have 2 checks with the rook, so we need to evaluate both. I'm also thinking about like the getaway square for the king. I feel like he can get away through there. So let's calculate this move first, because that leaves that square available for the bishop to come in and cut off that. So the forcing line to calculate is going to be check, and then coming up. Well, I guess not. If I go check and he goes back, check. He has to block with that or that. And then we take, and we're just, so right now we're down in exchange, and that would make it even material, and we're just up 2 pawns. So that's completely winning for us, even with opposite color bishops. But only because this pawn is anchored on a light square. So that works. Now let's see what happens when he comes forward. Check. King comes forward. What other checks do we have now? We know it's not coming back because that would just repeat the position. So check. King f6. If that happens, then the rook is hanging completely. So there's no way that he could move his king to a meaningful place to attack anything with a discovered check. Like if his king went up, the important thing is that we have king e3 defending the bishop, and he doesn't have rook f3 check because we take with the knight, and everything is copacetic. So I do think that it's this move. Now what would have been correct there was to look at the other move, because we only calculated the 1 check. It would have been good to look at the other check to make sure that there wasn't a better outcome with the other one, technically. Now this is just mate. It's check with this rook first because the king is blocked in this direction. If the king was blocked in this direction, then we would want to give this check first. Like, let's say that there was some piece on this square. Then we would give check here, checkmate. But because he's blocked on this square, we give this check here, checkmate. Okay, for some reason it really doesn't want you to play that last move. You guys just got robbed of an experience. I feel so badly for you. Just kidding. Okay. Pawn check. Let's start with the obvious. If you go here, this comes with check, and then here, and that is mate. So let's say you don't go to the edge of the board. Well, you kind of would have to go to the edge of the board after that. So that looks pretty good. Let's say check and the king comes up, which is probably quite a bit more likely. Then we have this check. And we know what happens if the king goes there, so we don't have to calculate that. And if the king goes here, then this check. And where can the king go from there? The pawn restricts this. The king restricts these. And that's checkmate. So I think that's the move. And you had to find this check from the top, which was, you know, that can be kind of hard to find sometimes. So I'm just off the rip seeing that this is a pawn hanging with check. So that's going to be our candidate move to calculate first. So check. King has a cajillion places that he could go. If here, I think we have this check here, and then the queen comes up, check, and that's actually mate. So I don't think he can go that direction. So check, let's say he goes back 1 square. I think we might have this check, or this move. And if the king goes here, again, we know what happens. No, I miscalculated. Because after this check here, check, you can go here again. Here. Here. Check. Here, and that's mate. No, it's not. Because you can go back here. Check there. Okay, so this is a little bit more convoluted. Check here. So, bishop f3, king f1, bishop g2, king g1, bishop h1, king f1, bishop g2 check, king e2, queen f3 check, king back. That doesn't seem like it's quite correct now, does it? That just seems way too convoluted. So we should probably be looking for other moves. Can't give up the back rank. Well, I guess we can. No, but the bishop covers this square anyway, so it doesn't matter. Check here. If we go here to threaten this checkmate, he has to go here. So what else can we do in that one position? Queen check. King up. This check. King over, check. And I think that's just going to lead to a devastating attack. I should probably calculate it out all the way, but I'm getting kind of tired. So, whatever. Okay, that's not a move that I was expecting. Pretty sure I just have this. Okay, so now let's take a look. If I take this with the queen, and he goes here, this is mate. So it would make more sense for him to, well, he can't defend the second rank at all. He can't bring his rook up because then I'll just take it. So yeah, queen takes looks good. I don't know why I thought the queen was hanging when it went there. Jeez, dude. This is why you should never be surprised when you're playing Puzzle Rush. You need to work on I need to work on calculating better. Okay, so I can take this, and then he plays king takes. That looks pretty good, and his king is just weak for the rest of the game. And I'm down in exchange, actually, so I think I need to go for better than that. What could it be? What could it be? Don't have any queen checks. This check drops the bishop. I think it might be this move. to bring the bishop in. And then let's say he blocks. So let's say we go here, and then he goes here. Then we go here. Then he goes here. That doesn't seem to be working out pretty good for the good guys. So it's important, even though I'm on camera, I want to be patient here and try to find the correct moves and not rush it, because this is for my benefit. I like this idea to go here, but I just don't know what to do after this move. I feel like that's a pretty strong move. I mean, I don't have this check as a sacrifice. There's just no way. Oh. What can I play? Takes. 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 Here. So I'm still just down in exchange. Is that good enough to win? I don't think so. Does that line make sense to you guys? Like, what I just calculated was liquidating. If bishop f8, bishop e3, rook e8, queen e2, rook takes e3, queen takes e3, we actually have bishop c5, pinning the queen. But if bishop f8, bishop e3, rook e8, queen e3, or queen e2, rook e3, queen takes f3, rook takes f3, king takes h1, and in that position, we're still down in exchange. Oh my god. Holy smokes, dude. I just like... I feel so stupid right now. I'm just gonna play this. I mean, I know that it's wrong. Let's take a look at it. It's just taking too long. Like, Bishop takes f4, seriously? This. Now we have this. Okay, that's what it is. I didn't calculate this. I needed to calculate one step further, so that's my bad. I just saw that we were down. So just to see it in this way, it's check here. I had the right idea with this, but I just needed to see that after this exchange that I still have an additional move. I have, oh my god, I have rook d2. And then he needs to give up the queen, otherwise it's mate on h2. Crazy. Crazy. Oh wow. This is closely resembling some of my games, huh? So this is actually really funny. This just happened the other day in one of the games. It's just this. And then just here, and then if this check, well, you can't play that check anymore. Yeah, it's just here, and then this is mate. Yeah, you guys saw that in my crazy game the other day, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm seeing that the queen and the king are aligned, and also with the rook. So that's pretty strong. Has the potential to be pretty strong. So I'm trying to think of ways that I could help my bishop get onto this square, and in the process, you know, win the entire game. So this is obviously getting much more complicated now. So this is a threat. This would defend this idea, but it would hang my queen in the process. And then he would just end up a rook. So if for example, c5, rook takes d7, bishop d4, queen takes d4, pawn takes d4, and then rook takes d6, I have no way to defend d4, I'm literally just down. Like, yeah, I won his queen, but I lost my queen in the process, so. Trying to think of an idea that still hangs on to everything here. What if I switch up the move order? Bishop here, queen here, pawn here. Takes, still the same situation. Sometimes it's helpful to look at changing the move order. I'm thinking about this move, preparing this, but still defending it. Same is true for this move. It's tough. The problem is I don't see any way that I can get my queen to support this square in one move. Like, if I could magically teleport my queen here on next move, then this would be a gigantic threat, and it would probably be pretty rudimentary to convert. So I'm thinking about queen g4, and if you take this pawn, I have check, and then your options are to bring your queen forward and your king forward and lose your queen, or block with your queen and lose your queen. So if I play this, he needs to defend the back rank. So how does he defend the back rank? What if he plays this move? Then this, wherever his queen moves, if it doesn't stay on this diagonal, yeah, it's definitely just this. Yeah, because now we just have this check. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is weird. Check here, here. If you take, it defends this square is the problem. Okay. This is a long video. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know in the comments if you do, because I don't think I've ever done a puzzle rush survival on camera. But it's good for you, you know? Check here, and the queen is just trapped. Uh-oh. Yeah, so I should have seen that the queen could get out and there was a situation there, but oh well. Okay, so I'm seeing that the king doesn't have very many squares, like he's restricted on the C file here, so I'm really gravitating towards this check immediately. If you block with the knight, then we take this, and we're threatening this checkmate, and this check leading to mate. So check if his king goes back here, hitting the knight, that might be more of a problem. So check, king here, check, king here, and my back rank is exposed. Do I have a better check with the knight? If I go here, covering that square, and he takes, come in with check here, and that's actually mate. So what if he doesn't take? Check here, here. What else can you do? So the main threat in that position is if I got another move in a row, I'd probably play check here and mate. So let's see what he can do to defend. No, but even then that wouldn't work because his knight can block. So here, here, here. If I had another move in a row, check, he would just play this. Man, this is tough. Maybe it's this check. Oh my god, is that just mate? Oh my god. I found it. You know, it's not... Yeah, sometimes it takes you a little while, but... I did find it eventually. Okay, so it really wants you to play this check. Which is why you should not play that check. I'm calculating this. Because then he's forced here, and then we give this check, and he's busted. So it's all about finding the best check. Oh man, this is tough. So if we trade everything, I'm not entirely sure how winning it is. But I'm not seeing another choice. It's not like we can just go here or something. So takes, king c3. It's finding the most accurate move after king c3. King d7. King c4. king c6, b5 check. There's just no way that that works. So what if we take once and then do something else with our rook? What if we do this? If we give this check king takes, we win. If we give this check king up, takes, 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 we actually promote? No. Because the king goes here. So check, king up, take, take, king up, or pawn up. If pawn takes, we promote. I keep saying the wrong piece just like all day today, so I'm really sorry if this is confusing for you guys. But I'm calculating a3, king b3, rook c3, rook c3, and a2. Because if king takes a2, rook takes c3, and we just win, we're up a rook. And if rook takes c8, then we promote, and we're vibing. So check, that's the only things you need to calculate. It's this, and then you need to find a2. Oh! Okay, so it's not a2. Feels bad to be bad, man. Oh, no, I even said it correctly. I just played the wrong move. You need to take once first. Otherwise, you get taken with check, and the whole thing falls apart. Oh man, I feel cheated. I literally calculated the correct thing and then just played the wrong thing on the board. That's gutting. No way that this is a 2000 rated puzzle, dude. It's just takes, takes, and check. Picking up the freaking rook. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even calculate that because I knew that my back rank was safe. Okay, so this is a fork, and when you take, it picks up a piece. Okay, taking with the queen was more accurate, apparently. That sucks. I can usually, you know, if I take my time and dedicate to it, I can usually get around 50. So that's what I was hoping for here. So if we play this, what's the move? Rook e1. Okay. And then he's just going to chase my queen around until it can't defend the piece anymore. Wow. Okay, fair enough. So it's queen takes, bishop takes. So that's my bad. Oh, that's a terrible way to go out. That feels awful. But anyway, that's how it is. So we got to 38 today. I'm not gonna lie, this is like my worst score in a long time. But I've also been playing chess very poorly, so naturally that's going to translate. If you guys liked this type of content, definitely let me know. I'm thinking about just kind of mixing one of these in every once in a while, just as kind of like a, you know, I don't know. I always get inspired to do puzzles when I watch other people do puzzles. Like when Daniel Naroditsky posted, like, boom, I'm going to spend an hour and 15 minutes and I'm going to get to 60 puzzles. I was like, shit, I can do that. I mean, I know I can't, but I was like, I can get to 50. So let me boot up the camera and let's get it rolling. But unfortunately, I just did pretty poorly. All right, well, all that being said, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for our regularly scheduled programming. Bye.